Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to episode number 130 of Songs of Selah here on 17 Numa Radio. Thank you for tuning in this evening. I'm your host, Scott Thomas Outler, and it is Monday, January 18th, 2021. Coming up in the next segment, I'll be joined by tonight's guest, Beverly M. Collins. Beverly is a poet and the author of 2 books that she'll be coming on to speak about. She appeared on the show this past October as part of the Alien Buddha Press Halloween special, so I'm looking forward to speaking with her more in depth and learning about her writing here tonight. Stay tuned for poetry from Beverly M. Collins coming up in just a bit, and in the meantime, please be sure to subscribe to the channel while you're listening here on 17 Numa Radio. A reminder that all past episodes of Songs of Selah can be found in the archive at 17numa.com. Thank you to everyone who supports the show by spreading the word and sharing episode links with your friends. Your support is always greatly appreciated. I'm not entirely sure what my exact purpose is in life, as these things can take some time to firmly flesh out and settle upon, but I'm 100% certain that one of the fundamental themes is resisting all forms of tyranny and opposing the beast system of this world and all its insidious tentacles that are wrapped around the throat of humanity. Unfortunately, some people get their kicks and kinks from asphyxiation and tend to identify favorably with dominating powers. It's a sad persuasion of influence to fall under, so that's a bummer. In an age of great deceit, it has become abundantly clear that it is not freedom which some people seek, but rather freedom from freedom. A willful turning over of consciousness and critical thinking to pundits, officials, experts, technocrats, and other hypocrites of the ruling elite. Ah, may you live in interesting times, it has been said, but also be careful what you wish for. The greatest sin I can think of, during the present moment at least, is to live a life devoid of courage. The blessing of being a part of this magnificent creation of God comes with the gift of infinite possibilities that can be brought forth through ingenuity and creativity, but it also comes with a great responsibility to stand with a strong spine when confronted by forces that sway toward the ideology of nihilistic apathy, which, in turn, leads to naught but destruction, chaos, confusion, and ruins. Yikes. Whether it's the international banking cartels, or the big tech oligarchs perched high in their Silicon Valley castles, or the propaganda machine of the corporate Medes, or the military-industrial complex, or the pharmaceutical lobbying interest, or any of the other corrupted mafia institutions that have failed to serve as honest gatekeepers and arbiters of truth in society, it's all cut from a similar cloth. You can call it fascism, you can call it communism, or you can call it a centralized, command and control collectivist leviathan of authoritarianism. After all, a thorn by any other name still stings the same. An artist in Greece named Elizabeth Kaiser contacted me a few days ago and asked if I'd be interested in recording one of my poems that she could then craft a piece of music around. I was quick to jump at the opportunity to collaborate, as I've long felt that music is potentially the most important dynamic that could help add a new source of energy to my writing. Well, I'm pleased to say that Elizabeth sent back a new track that she wrote and produced, which absolutely blew me away. I'm excited about how well the recording turned out, and I'm looking forward to working on some further tracks with her in the near future. The poem I sent her was an excerpt from my book Abstract Visions of Light, a piece titled It's a Matter of Record/Opinion. She took my vocals and really turned the whole project into something that transcends my simple reading by several orders of magnitude. I thought I would close this segment out tonight by playing that piece, which is also now available on my YouTube channel. So let's listen to Elizabeth Kaiser's production of It's a Matter of Record/Opinion before we head into a music break. After that, we'll return on the other side with tonight's guest, Beverly M. Collins. Stay tuned. Tell me something meaningful and make sure I believe it before you double down my debts. Then dance in your pride and vanity. Then dance in your ignorance and vanity. Then dance in your shaken identity. Then dance, then dance, then dance in vanity. Pat yourself on the back, pat me on the back, pat myself on the back, pat you on the back, pat us on the back, pat we on the back, pat them on the back. I take it all back. I take it all. There are ghosts in the system, ghosts in the visions, ghosts in the world, ghosts in your pores, ghosts pouring out. Smoke in your eye, smoke in your hair, smoke on your tongue, fire in your lungs, fire in your heart, fire, 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 always burn. Thin ice, thin ice. Thin ice. All your sins have been collected from a life you didn't live. So pray to the gods of big data and confess that your days have been numbered. Drift through the endless stream, scrolling through the timeline of life, searching for the source to find connection. Tell me something meaningful in every single moment. And make sure I buy, but never sell out and down and out. Never doubt, never doubt, never doubt that there is destiny and there is dust in it. Thin air, thin air.
sundown. Take a look around. Find a way in the silence. Lies to hide away with your back to the ground. Distant reconnect to the resonance now. You were never an island. You need voice among the many in this choir. Tune into each other. Lift all higher. Hey, tuning into each other, lift all higher.
Welcome back to Songs of Selah here on 17 Numa Radio. If there's anyone interested in appearing as a guest on a future episode of the program, please feel free to get in contact with me via email at 17numa@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to get you set up for an interview coming up in the months ahead. Tonight's guest, Beverly M. Collins, is the author of the books Quiet Observations, Diary Thought, Whimsy and Rhyme, and Mud and Magic. Her works have also appeared in California Quarterly, Poetry Speaks, A Year of Great Poems and Poets, The Hidden and the Divine Female Voices in Ireland, The Journal of Modern Poetry, Spectrum, Lummox, Silver Birch Press, The Galway Review, The Wild Word Magazine, and many others. She has also appeared on the radio show Speak and Be Heard. Winner of a 2019 Naji Naman Literary Prize in Creativity from Lebanon, Collins is also a prize winner for the California State Poetry Society. She has been twice nominated for the Pushcart Prize and once for Independent Best American Poetry. She was also shortlisted for the 2018 Pangolin Review Poetry Prize. Thanks so much for joining the program tonight, Beverly. How are you?
Hi, how you doing, Scott? It's great to be here. Fun to be back.
Glad to hear from you again. Had a lot of fun on that Halloween special a few months ago.
Yeah,
so.
That was a hoot. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so looking forward to finding out a little bit more in depth about your work here tonight and talk about your books a little bit. But maybe first off, just give us a little background information about yourself and maybe where your interest in poetry first began.
Okay, well, I was born in Delaware, and our family moved to New Jersey. And for many years, I think it's interesting that you were talking about putting lyrics to music, because for years I pursued music. I was in singing groups. I sang background for Vanguard Records and some, artists in New York, New Jersey area. And then me and my sister continued to pursue music. We moved to California. And, I was pursuing writing music and writing songs. And I had joined the Songwriters Guild of America. And we were working on learning how to craft songs, what makes a song a hit. And there was a period of time, like my mother had passed away, and I couldn't find a melody because I used to come up with melodies and words. And I couldn't find a melody to this particular song, and I just left the words. And I ended up taking those words and submitting them as my first poem. And that first poem I ever wrote was published. And so that's what started me writing poems. But I come from a background of music, of pursuing music. Yeah, so it's really interesting. I still love music very, very much, but I don't pursue it anymore. Yeah, so I started writing poems and then, just submitting things, and it's been a wonderful journey. It's really been a wonderful journey. I've done a lot of featured readings, all different places, here mostly in Southern California. And I used to work for Revlon when I was in New Jersey. And I've worked at Warner Music Group when I was here in California. And I ended up going to India for a period of time. And, that was a great experience. I have a poem in my book about it. I've gone to London, and I wrote poems about that, so, yeah. My main thing is writing about love stories, love poems, that type of thing. But I wanted to share a poem today for Martin Luther King Day.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to wish everybody a happy Martin Luther King Day.
And to you as well.
I was looking at a quote by him earlier that I absolutely love. This man has many, many wonderful quotes, but this one goes like this. It says, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward." And I just love that.
Absolutely, that rings true. And actually, I was watching some YouTube videos of yours that are up online, and you had talked about that same theme in one of your poems, the necessity of continual motion forward and how that plays into life. So it's interesting that you picked that quote.
Yes, absolutely. I have a poem in my book called Forward, and it's from my second book, the one called Mud and Magic. And I wanted to share that really, really quick. It goes like this. Forward can show up with the hat on backwards in disguise. Forward can spring from a small, still place we first don't recognize. Forward loves focus, can take an appearance of a step back, hungers for the state of perfection as we draw what we attract. Rush can be a revolving door that lands us where we started. Demand can lead us to a room that satisfaction just departed. Anxious may not move forward if it darts and jumps about. Sly can lose sight of forward, weaving webs but won't move out. Those who try to bully forward often lose balance. Seduction may not move forward if it tries to take the place of talent. Jealousy can be found stuck in ditches along a road, with grudge much too weighted down to move its heavy load. Honesty holds a bright light that shines to wisdom's station. Humility points the way, moving hand in hand with patience. Tolerance holds a master plan that moves away from ego's muddle. Understanding with compassion brings us forward without struggle. Thank you.
Very nice. Nice way to kick things off here. And you said that's a piece from Mud and Magic?
Mud and Magic, yes.
Can you talk a little bit about
my first
that book and the themes that went into it?
Well, with Mud and Magic, how I came up with the name Mud and Magic is because mud and magic, I realize that sometimes you can think something has gone wrong, and actually it's leading you where you need to go.
Absolutely.
You know, so, yeah, there was a poem in there called Mud and Magic. But, yeah, that's what it came from. You know, you can have stumbles, and you think you're going backwards. You're not going backwards, you're going forwards, you know.
Absolutely.
In my life, I've been laid off and that type of thing and realized it was the best thing.
Might not always seem like it in the exact moment, but having that higher perception and perspective on things definitely keeps us open and available to the new opportunities that challenges bring. So it's great to stay in that state of mind.
Yes. Yeah, you know, I had a go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I had a poem that was about being laid off and the feeling of finding out. You know how they always call it a reorganization, you know. And when you first get that news, how it can feel like it's kicked you in the gut, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I have this one is in Mud and Magic, yes. It's called The Mist, and I can share it with you. Then we'll get back to our conversation. The Mist. It's 8:30 p.m. I become aware of the cold temperature of the station bench through my clothing. The train's headlights appear on the track, a distant sun, blinking so far off, there is no warmth from its rays. The feeling draws me back to our afternoon meeting, announcement that a reorganization is about to disorganize my life and reveal accumulated dust in its corners. It's funny how one sentence can tighten temples, add pepper and vinegar to a fresh cup of coffee, and suck all the air from the room at the same time. These moments come out of the mist, bringing a chilly, foul odor with a perfume label, an appointment with insomnia placed before me with a dash of stiff smile. Back at my desk, my attention crept over to the upside. I recall insomnia visiting me with increased frequency over the past 2 years. Let me see. Demands, aching hands, and insomnia versus insomnia and a new start. The cup before me was suddenly half full. It is not too sweet, but it does have some cream.
Very nice.
Thank you.
You had talked about living there in Southern California and being part of some of the events in that area. Can you expand a little bit on what the art and literature scene are where you live, and how have things been changed here this past year, and are expectations that maybe some of the events will be starting back up soon?
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of readings here in California, but what I was doing was I was a part of, like, featured readings that they had, and also we have, like, open mics. I think you probably have that in Atlanta, too.
Oh,
and,
sure.
Most of the places, yeah. So we have all been shut down, of course. We had to stop because of COVID-19, but we've been doing, like, the Zoom readings. You know, we had, anthologies that came out, and we had to do the celebration via Zoom, which worked out just fine. So we had one called We Are Here came out, and that was put out by Moonrise Press, which also does my book. And oh my God, we had so many others. I post them on my Facebook page. Let me see. I had one for Silver Birch Press. Oh my God, so many different ones. But it's all been Zoom. No live readings, nothing.
That'll all be returning hopefully soon, but that's great that you're able to.
Hopefully.
Right. I guess it depends on the area, but that's great that you're able to stay in touch with the other artists and writers and publishers during this time and be involved in those events. Also very cool.
Everything is.
Was,
Go ahead, Scott.
That first poem of yours being published as soon as you sent it out, I'm sure that was a great moment and gave you an impetus to continue along that path. Always nice to have that early success to sort of set your sights on. So that's.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a surprise, but I guess because I was writing about my feelings of losing my mother, it was in my first book. It's actually called Puppy, but I'm gonna read. I'm not gonna read Puppy today. I hadn't planned to read it, but the thing with me that I always want to share is that because I come from doing songs, and with songs it's very important to rhyme and have good meter. That's the world of songwriting. I'm really good at rhyming because the poem that I won for California Quarterly, it was a rhyming poem, and Puppy is a rhyming poem as well. All right. The one that I wanted to share was a continuum of the feelings for Martin Luther King, and that one was called Ripples, because Martin Luther King had a wonderful focus of where he wanted everyone to go, what he wanted his dream to be, So Ripples goes like this. Let love be all that I am, my obvious choice, my secret agenda, the scent that I chase, the voice that I heed. Love is both oak and seed. Let love be all that I am. Love is my light and my protection, the ripple I send in every direction. Love is my aim and my middle name. Love moves the walls between us and them. Let love be all that I am. Thank you.
Very nice. That'd be an excellent poem to start the morning off with each day as a little mantra or meditation to get consciousness set in the right direction.
Yeah, that one has been republished by Uplift, and it's in my very first book. A lot of my poems have been republished, so it's like that's a blessing too. You've probably had that because I see you're published quite a bit, huh, Scott?
Thank you. Yes. You had talked about your traveling to India a little bit earlier and to London. Can you expand on the experiences you had there and what traveling means to you overall and how it plays into your writing?
Yeah, I went to India when we were laid off, and actually it was a wonderful thing because I was supposed to be training outsourced team, and what ended up happening was that we had a really grand time. They went around with me. They showed me everything, and you know how when you first get to a place, you think you know a culture, and you might feel uncomfortable about it, and then when you get there and you get involved with it and you sit down and you talk to people, you realize you share so many things, that we have more in common with people than we don't have in common with them. We have so much common ground. So when I was there, we spent so much time, sitting together and talking that I ended up writing a poem about my experience in India, and it was called Arrival India. But let me get to that one. That wasn't one I planned to do today.
Well, I think
and that one is also in Mud and Magic.
Okay, that one's in Mud and Magic as well. Where can people find a copy of your collection? And can you talk about the publisher you said was involved with that?
Mud and Magic is on Moonrise Press, and they can go to www.moonrisepress.com, or they can get it on Amazon. And Quiet Observations is on Ex Libris. That is also on Amazon, too, if you want to go there. Or you can go to exlibris.com, and it's actually spelled Xilbris, because I know people get confused in how it's spelled. But they're both on Amazon.
And also invite people, there's a link in the show description to a YouTube video that's up that people can go check out as well that has some further readings by you. Yes. That reading I believe I sent you was from Sorry to Bother Me, and that was an interesting show that we did. And I touched on some things in there that was very important about focusing on what you want, being careful what you put in front of people, because you never know where they are, psychologically, So you got to be careful what you share.
Absolutely. I was very touched by the story you told in that piece about your childhood.
And it's a true story. You never know, a lot of the youth can be depressed, and you're talking to them, telling them things you don't realize that you should hold back a little bit, And like I had expressed in a YouTube video, sometimes when we're sharing things on our Facebook page, social media, we look at things on television, we don't realize that people are going to go and do what you're putting before them. Instead of not doing it, you're not shocking them. You're actually teaching them what they shouldn't learn.
Absolutely. You talked on that theme of the copycat syndrome that I think the news media a lot of time perpetuates into society, and maybe even the school system in a lot of ways as well from early age.
Yeah, and we get involved in it too, reposting footage. For some reason, we feel like we got to show every negative thing when maybe we should not show every fight, you know what I mean? You got to show up showing what you would like things to be. If you want unity, you've got to be unity. You've got to express unity. Show love. Be harmony if you want to see more harmony. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's really important.
I think that's a beautiful message, finding that strength within ourselves first and that core of inner peace so that we can be that ripple that you're expressing
Right.
to flow out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So I have family in Georgia. That's so funny. I haven't been in Georgia for a while. They've been coming out here, but I do have family in Georgia. There where you are.
What do you know? What area they're from?
I think they're in Smyrna.
Okay, yeah, it's not about an hour or so away from where I'm at.
Right. Yeah, but it's been a fun journey being a poet, and it seems like it's taken on a life of its own, keeps expanding. I've started to write short stories and submit those too, and I'm always learning, and have fun with your journey as far as the songs. Look up how to do lyrics. So if you want to perfect the lyricist, because it's a business within itself.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I can actually identify with the way that you sort of stumbled into poetry there, because I think for the first 10 years I was writing was probably mostly intended as lyrics and as hopefully getting into music at one point. So now 15 or 16 years later, it's finally starting to come into sight a little bit. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, rhyme and meter is very important to lyrics. Fitting them in just so.
Absolutely.
There's a whole reason. There's a whole reason why music people make so much money. It's really, really. It's an art unto itself.
I always think of the lyrical quality of writing as dancing between the syllables. I think when you get into writing verses, it's about staying in those same tempos throughout, so sort of flowing with the rhythm.
Oh, yes. It sure is. Oh, man.
You talked about those short stories that you're working on now. Do you have any other current projects on the horizon? Or upcoming projects on the horizon?
I have a short story that is a horror story that I keep rewriting. But I've got to keep working on it before I submit it. I have one that's called Candle that was published by Ponder Savant. But I'm going to expand on that and keep going. I'll let you know when I get when I get some more publishing on those. Maybe I'll call it in and read it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're more than welcome to. And I look forward to reading it as well.
Yeah, you seem like you like horror from the Halloween read. Oh, that was so funny.
We had a lot of interesting stories come in that night, and poetry as well. So it's a lot of fun. I always love doing those shows with Alien Buddha Press. I did a couple
here
recently
funny.
with them. Can you talk a little bit about your general writing process? Do you have any sort of habits or routines you stick to, or favorite part of the day that you like to write?
Usually, when I'm writing, I can write snippets all through the day, and it could be morning, could be late evening. I tend to be someone who writes at night, but I tend to start with my title. My title for me is like my roadmap. And I started being that way when I was writing songs. I always started with my lyrics, with my title. And then I'll craft what I want to write about. The title actually points me in the direction. And I sometimes, because in songwriting I used to come up with words that were opposites, like up, down, south, that type of thing. Because we realize in songwriting, using opposites makes it interesting. It wakes the reader up. And so I'll find ways to infiltrate opposites in what I'm writing or that type of thing. And I also come up with new ways to write things, like one poem that I wrote that is all four-letter words. And I often encourage people to not look at things how they've always been, but to come up with things that are new. And this particular poem is called Cuss, and it's made up of all four-letter words. I don't know if you want me to read it, but it was just an interesting, fun thing to do. Goes like
that
this.
is a nice concept, and yeah, absolutely. Please do read it.
Here it goes. Cuss. Let's hold rust that pour mess onto life, away from ideal good. Purifier, melt soft upon hard, like warm love gets kind past evil. Stay real, mend them. Grow hope, come feel less loss. Make eyes more wild with song. Hand held through hurt felt that we'll miss upon this toss. We'll pull cold howl from vain wind. Can't home stay cakewalk pure? Will weary mind name each play? Only time will tell. Yeah, so, I told this group of students that I was presenting it to that they could do that and try to find something, make it make sense, and just play around with it. Why not come up with something new? Because I'm not someone who studied poetry. I just dived in, and started doing poetry.
Yeah, that's why it's important to find those new angles to come at the creativity from.
Right.
I don't have any academic background in the field either. I just sort of stumbled into it backwards as well. So I
you just fell into it backwards, like me.
Absolutely, and then you just you try and have fun and pave your own little path of uniqueness and try to develop your style and craft in whatever way shines from your center. You don't really have to worry about what everyone else is trying to do.
Has done before.
Has done before, because everything's been done before. We're just sort of picking little pieces off the wall and combining them in different ways at this point with everyone's.
And I believe that if you worry about following what the genre has always been, and you put like a little box around this is poetry and that's not poetry, that would mean the genre is dead. You know what I mean? It's so important to keep the fun in it. Make sure you're having fun. Keep make the fun serious and the serious fun.
Absolutely. Keep that good balance.
Because I found that when people worry about it, they can go to writer's block. And that's one of the things that I was telling the students that I was talking to, is to not edit yourself while you're trying to write. You got to let it flow and then tell yourself you're going to rewrite it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that comes with trusting in the process.
The territory.
And trusting in your own subconscious as well, knowing that it's sort of in there inside you already, and all you have to do is get out of its way and let it do what it needs to do.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but I generally start with the title, and then if something comes, it comes. And then I just let it all come out and then rewrite it. And if I need to rewrite it again, So, I try to keep it with ease,
We've got about 15 minutes left here in the show, so I want to just sort of turn the stage over to you now if you have any other poems that you'd like to share with us tonight from either your collections or any new ones.
Oh, absolutely. This particular one that I wanted to share is called Define Crazy. This is one of my favorite poems that I've written. It's not in one of my books yet. It's in the Altadena Poetry Review. But it goes like this. I see you as you eye the sunburned side of my soul. Is it that part of me that gives you the most comfort? Are you, again, seeking connection more from sadness than a sense of celebration? What do you want from me? Would you feel better if we were both drinking in the emptiness of chronic distraction until we feel drunk? Faking ourselves out with all manner of chain peer pressure caving, chain credit card maxing, chain texting, chain coffee drinking, and then chain pretending that you don't feel the punishment for doing so. Are you staring straight ahead, blurry-eyed and moment-by-moment suffering? Maybe crazy is attachment to habits that bring one down instead of the commitment to a dream that makes living life profound. Maybe you have gone crazy when you forget you once had a dream. You wake up numb in a new day. Remind yourself to stay absent. You call out your own name and hope that you answer. So late for everything that you wait for yourself to show up in the mirror. Maybe you have fallen asleep at the wheel on parts of your life process, and you're so crazy that you didn't even notice. Thank you. And that one is in the Altadena Poetry Review. The anthology was 2015, but you can still get it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me see. It's another one I wanted to read. This is one of my favorites that I love reading. This was called Next, and it has been republished quite a few times. Okay, here we go. Next. From the top of January to the bottom of every December, life is a continuum. May we remember to remember. There are no platforms on which we halt, no arrivals at which we're landing. There is only continuous movement. Blend motion into all planning. Next is a good four-letter word that dances on the tongue and illuminates the playground of the mind. Next can call loudly or soft and subtle when it chimes. Within the cold of winter, remember next are fragrant flowers of spring. Next reminds us there is no be-all. There's no end-all to anything. When riding a high tide or if low tide has you feeling sadness or perplexed, no true muscle can be found in how well you just say next. Thank you. And I think you've seen that one was on the YouTube.
Yeah, that's I think the idea of the continual motion, always that forward movement that you were speaking about there.
Yeah. Yes. Let me see. Do I have time for another one for you?
Yes, you do.
You know, a lot of my poems are just, for fun. I'm not someone who's I would say, overly political or that type of thing. I usually do it for fun. So this one is called, let me see, Balloon Life. And it goes like this. So there I loomed, bloated and stretched to the limit, a floating wallflower bouncing slightly over a round wooden table, supporting a fluffy cake of white buttercream frosting and blue and red writing. I noticed the words, Happy Birthday, written on both myself and fluffy cake to myself. Are we related? I was about to ask when several gleeful humans of different height, shape, and gender entered the area. They glanced at us with a smile and continued to talk amongst themselves. Fluffy Cake and I remained silent. I wondered what Fluffy Cake was thinking as one human pushed waxy sticks into the icing and lit the ends with fire. What the? I felt the pang of guiltiness as I did nothing to come to Fluffy Cake's defense. The humans very loudly sang a song in unison, the same words written on myself and Fluffy Cake. The song ended. They blew out the fires they had only lit moments earlier. They clapped their hands and cheered. What a strange ritual. Strange, these humans. All at once, a knife was drawn, and I witnessed the assassination. I didn't want to look, but I had no way of turning away. The humans then used these prong-like instruments to scoop Fluffy Cake into their mouth. Oh, the horror. Moments later, a young female human reached towards me with an open safety pin. Whose safety? Certainly not mine, for with one deadly caress, pow, I was a goner. So that was me writing from the perspective of a birthday balloon. Oh, gosh.
Nice, nice fun note to wind things up on here tonight. I like the good humor, but also the just positivity overall.
Yes.
Is imbued with your poetry. So I appreciate you bringing that to the show tonight and sharing with us all. And are there any final thoughts you have for the audience, or things you're looking forward to here in 2021?
Oh, I'm looking forward to things calming down politically, but and I'm got my fingers crossed on that. But I want to share that they can find me anywhere. They can go to Amazon to get my books. They can find me on YouTube. There's several readings of me on YouTube, and I'm going to be doing more, and hopefully I'll be back on. Thank them for listening.
Absolutely, come back on and read one of those short stories sometime.
Yeah, I'll do that. That'll be great, Scott. And thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Have a nice evening, Beverly.
You too, Scott. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right, so go check out Beverly M. Collins' books. You can pick them up on Amazon, and also check out that link to her YouTube reading in the show description here tonight. I want to welcome everybody back next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern again. I'm going to have my friend Carol Welter onto the program. She'll be returning to talk about her poetry and the scripts that she's been working on here of late. So looking forward to speaking with her. And hope everyone has a great week ahead. Until next time, Selah.
But the whole wide world to gain. Nothing but the whole wide world to gain. Nothing but the whole wide world to gain. I'm here on the blacktop, the sun in my eyes, women and country on my mind, boats in the out, over the borderline. No more love lost, no more shame, no more digging holes or graves. Nothing to lose, but rivets and chains. Got nothing but the whole wide world to gain. Nothing but the whole wide world to gain. Nothing. Got nothing but the whole wide world to gain. Nothing. Got nothing but the whole wide world. Down on the pastures I learned how to walk. My mama, she raised me to sing and just to let him talk. but the whole wide world for us. Nothing, nothing. Want something but the whole wide world for us. Nothing, nothing. Want something but the whole wide world for us. Can't get no love. Never was too good at either of them. I'm here for adventure, whichever way it comes. But we're good as them angels that won't catch up. I'm free fall now and I'm ready enough. I give my tears and I give my blood. I give nothing but the whole wide world for one. Nothing but the whole wide world for one. Nothing. Nothing, give nothing but the whole wide world for one. Nothing, nothing, give nothing but the whole wide world.